Welcome, you fellow preppers and survivalists. It's the All-America Prepper coming at you. Just doing a random live. I always just do a random live. I did one last night, but the internet was so awful because we had a terrible storm. But it went pretty good considering. And I want to thank Off the Wall Prepping for the donation. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And while I'm waiting for people to come on here, I'm just going to talk about a few things. One thing I want to talk about is you need to get in the best physical condition that you can get. You never know, in a situation when you're going to have to carry someone or when you're going to have to run. And being an experienced fighter, the cardio in that is just wow. Okay, you'll get tired a lot quicker than you think, so you really need to work on your cardio. What I do for my cardio, one of the things I do is I jump rope. Jumping rope is very good for your cardio. And it's not too hard on your body, but it works out so many muscles in your body that it's a real good workout. Just jump that rope as long as you can. And if you're not good at jumping rope, just keep practicing and eventually you'll figure it out. And when this video goes on YouTube as a regular video, please hit the like button and leave a comment. That raises the algorithm because YouTube is really being hard on us prepper channels. I personally feel that they just don't want people knowing this type of information because they want people to rely on the system. Now, I noticed that we have one person watching, and if you got a question, go right ahead and ask it. I'm here to answer questions, to fill in your gaps as far as prepping, homesteading, physical conditioning, anything that I can help you with. That's why I do this channel. Do I got a 5x5? How am I coming in? So I do this channel to help people. I want people to get through what's coming. And you can see, if you know what's going on, these banks are collapsing. Our American dollar is collapsing. Just trying to afford the everyday necessities is getting unobtainable for a lot of people. I know a lot of people that work full-time jobs. And, the rent down here in Florida is insane. So they can't afford their rent. So they're literally living in tents. Or, they're living with family members, which that could be stressful. Living with a family member, that could be stressful. So if you're in a situation where you have to live with a family member or a family member has to live with you, you need to write down on paper the rules. You need to have rules. And then you both need to sign it and agree. If you can't abide by the rules, then, you need to move out. Because, when you're in someone else's home, you got to live by their rules. Hey, brother, how are you doing this morning? Doing all right, Andrew. I'm glad to see you was in the live last night. Do I got a 5x5? Because the internet last night was horrible. But I'm at my mom's house, and I believe she's got good internet. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you for that 5x5, Andrew. I appreciate that. Right now I'm talking about physical fitness. You really need to get as physically fit as you possibly can. A strong man is hard to kill. And, if you're in an altercation, or if you have to run, or if an EMP goes off and your car's disabled and you got to walk home, well, you need to be physically fit enough to be able to do that. What I strongly recommend, for people to put on their bug out bag and to go for a walk. Most people, when you go for a long walk with your bug out bag, you're going to lighten it up. You're going to realize that stuff gets heavy very quickly. And that'll also let you know what shape you're in. Some good advice is, if you can talk and remain and keep a consistent pace, that's the speed you need to go at. If you're not able to talk while you're walking, well, slow down a little bit. You got to build up to that. And most people, they will be unpacking a lot of that stuff out of their bug out bag, because they're going to realize, man, I can't walk for miles carrying all this weight. And you'll get down to the bare essentials that you need. Now, for instance, in my bug out bag, because cooking food, that's going to be a dangerous situation, because people's going to smell that food. And, hungry people, they're going to want to take it. So in my bug out bag, what I do is it's one of the few things that I buy. I buy powdered protein, and I take it out of that big old container. It comes in a big old container, but there's only like that much in it. So I take that powdered protein out of there and put it in a vacuum bag and vacuum seal it. And that way it takes up little room. And of course, have you a water filtration system in your bug out bag? Or at least have you some tablets that makes that water safe to drink? But basically, and you carry one of those shakers that comes with that protein. They sell them right there with it, because I've learned that without that shaker, it's really hard to get that stuff to work properly, to get it to mix up properly. But with that powdered protein, you just pour it in the shaker and fill it up with water and shake it real good. And you're getting hydrated and you're getting protein at the same time on the go. It's just a quick way to do it. And there's no cooking involved. You just pour that protein powder. First, you pour the water in there. Then you put the powder in there. Shake it real good. And drink that. That way you're getting hydrated and protein at the same time. And you can still stay on the move. So I strongly recommend doing that. And, I always have some water in my bug out bag. That way I don't have to take time to filter the water and make it safe to drink. You can drink it straight away. But, water is heavy. It's almost 8 pounds a gallon, 7 pounds something a gallon. So you carry that water and it's going to get heavy quick. But I recommend you carrying, some water, but carry you a way to filter that water and a way to make it safe. Now, if push comes to shove, boil the water. Bring it to a rolling boil for 10 minutes just to make sure it's safe to drink. Now, that's not going to get the chemicals out of that water, but it's going to kill any viruses, any pathogens in there that will make you sick. So, and they have these little stoves. I make my own, and you can look it up. I will make a video about that, but until then, you can just look it up. Everything's on YouTube. And you can learn how to build one of those little stoves just out of a couple of cans and put it in your bag. That way you can just stop, get you some twigs, because those particular setups I'm talking about, just some twigs, they put off a lot of heat, enough to get that water boiling very quickly. And, because a lot of people, that they're going to drink bad water, and that's going to take out a lot of people. Okay. All right. I'm answering your question. From your combat experience, what's your pew recommendations? What can last the longest and most durable? Able to scavenge ammo? Glock versus revolver? AR or AK? Okay. Now, first off, you need to use what you're comfortable with. Okay. If you were raised up using a revolver, well, you want to use what you're comfortable with, that you're confident with. But just say you had nothing. Okay. I would, if I was starting out with nothing and an experienced shooter, if you're not an experienced shooter, that's a whole nother game. If you're not an experienced shooter, I would use a revolver. But if you're an experienced shooter, I would go with a Glock. Now, as far as your rifle platform, and opinions vary. Like if you've been in the military, obviously, go with the AR platform. You know it better. Me personally, though, I prefer an AK. Because if we was to get invaded, most likely our enemy is going to be using an AK. That way you can pick up their magazines and use their ammunition. And an AK is the most durable rifle that I know of. Literally. Now, like I said, if you're just starting out and you don't have no experience, please get some training. Okay. Remember, you're the weapon. Any gun or bow or that's just a tool. You're the weapon. So, but if you're an experienced shooter, I would get a Glock with lots of magazines. Okay. And for a rifle, I would get an AK with lots of magazines, because I have been in firefights doing private security work, and it's amazing how quickly you go through your ammunition. So carry as many magazines as possible. And don't forget a good knife. You need a good fixed bladed knife. Now, there's a lot of good knives out there on the market. Now, Bone Tactical, he makes a good knife. But just to go down and buy one, I recommend a good K-bar. And, they make a lot of different types of K-bars now. And if you go to my original page on here, you'll see that knife that I'm holding. That's a K-bar. And it's a full tang K-bar. That would be the knife that I would recommend. Now, if you don't have experience in knife fighting, I would use an axe. And they sell hatchets, whatever size you're comfortable with carrying. And Eastwing, again, if you go back to my profile, to my page, and you see me standing there, I'm holding a knife and an axe. That axe is made by Eastwing. That's a great axe. Now, again, I am an affiliate with Bone Tactical. I need to start posting the links below. And Bone Tactical sells some good axes. But if you're just in a hurry, on the go, go to Home Depot's website and order that axe for a less experienced fighter. If you're not a trained knife fighter, use an axe. If you're a trained knife fighter, well, then use a knife. Okay? So, and I have a whole playlist. You just go to videos and you go to playlists, and I got a lot of videos on knife fighting. So I recommend that people watch that playlist. But here's the thing. Don't just watch the videos. Practice the information that you've watched. And I strongly recommend, because when the grid goes down, you're not going to have YouTube, right? So take notes and, draw out things. That way, you virtually have written your own book. Because, we're not always going to have access to the internet. I believe, just the way this thing's headed, it's we're gonna be in a grid down situation, and then all you're going to have is your knowledge, and then books, which I have a library. I purchased a lot of books. That way, also for something to do. I don't play cards. I don't do board games, but I have a lot of survival books that has a lot of good information in there. So I recommend you building you a library of survival books. And, you'll always hear me say this. Wild edibles. Again, go to my playlist. I have a lot of videos on wild edibles. Today, after this live stream, I'm literally going to go out in the yard and pick wild edibles and cook them on the grill over wood, because that's what I cook with. I have solar, but I save as much of that solar power as I can to run an air conditioner. I'm answering a question from Andrew. What are some negatives of Florida for preppers besides hurricanes and floods? I think it has a lot of positives. Well, the negatives is there's too many people down here, and I'm going to try to keep up with y'all. The negatives is there's a lot of people down here in Florida. But in the grid down situation, unfortunately, in the first couple weeks, we're going to lose a lot of people. So the heat down here is a negative. Nevertheless, I am climatized to this. So if you end up in Florida, you need to go out there in that heat and do it safely. Don't have a heat stroke. Make sure you stay hydrated, and let your body get used to the heat. That's a big factor. And, I use a kiddie pool to take my bath in. I believe in approaching off-grid, be as primitive as possible. And you will get used to living that way. When me and Little Miss Prepper first started living off grid, it was rough. You know, we've been doing it for 6 years, and now it's easy. You know, we just jump in that pool, we get our babs, we have a 5-gallon bucket. They literally sell toilet seats that go on that 5-gallon bucket. And, you know, just to be civil about it, we'll put a garbage bag in that bucket. That way you don't have to clean the bucket out every time you use the bathroom. So I recommend getting you a 5-gallon bucket with a toilet seat. You know, they sell them at Walmart. And use it. The best thing to do is practice scenarios, okay? Like, I do not use refrigeration. I'm going as primitive as I can go. So what I recommend you doing is going through your refrigerator, using up all the stuff that requires refrigeration, and because you don't want to waste anything. We're at a point right now that you don't waste anything. Even if you have the extra money, you need to learn now to repurpose everything and to not waste anything. You know, just a little packet of sugar, there's calories in there. Don't waste nothing. But once, you know, you get your refrigeration cleaned out where you don't have to, just turn your power off and see what it's like. See what it's like living without power. And you'll learn, you know, like me and Little Miss Prepper, we made our own system of doing things. And at first it was rough, but once we figured out our own system, now it's easy. You know, like I wish I would have known, you know, and I just wasn't thinking about the 5-gallon bucket for your latrine, okay, for your bathroom. That's the easiest way to go. You know, and then, you know, when you use that garbage bag, then you just take the garbage bag out and throw it in the trash, and when the garbage runs, the garbage men haul that off. So, you know, I'm as primitive as possible. You know, everybody says, oh, living off grid, you know, it's going to be so expensive. No, it's not. You will save a lot of money once you get your system figured out. You know, for instance, we use that 5-gallon bucket, so we're not running the water pump. You know, so when I'm not draining down my solar, because, you know, I save those batteries, because I'll be honest with you, there is times that, you know, Little Miss Prepper likes that air conditioner on. So go solar. Start small and learn. Just, you know, get you a small solar setup and try to get you one that you can add on to. That way you just grow it. You know, we started out with just a little solar generator with one panel, and then, you know, another panel and another panel. And then I learned how to use batteries to save that electricity and do it on the Diddy. You know, any battery I come across, I hook it up. You know, first I make sure it works. And a lot of these batteries, you can repair them. They sell kits, you know, that you can repair these batteries. So I virtually use any battery I can find to stockpile as much solar electricity as I can. Okay, nice. What time is dinner? Okay, probably in about 3 hours. I'm going to make that video, but it takes a long time for my videos to post. But I'm going to make the video, and then I'm going to post it. If you set your alarm bell off, it'll let you know when the video has been posted. And I'm literally just going to go around in the yard, harvest the wild edible weeds that grow everywhere. That is a plus about living in Florida. We don't have a true winter, so the wild edibles grow all year long. And I will show you a plant that grows everywhere down here in Florida, and it has 7 times the nutrition as spinach. And that's the thing about wild edibles, is there's no weird science behind it. It grows natural. No one's been spraying poison on it. No pesticides needed, no fertilizer needed. They literally take care of themselves. And then you just harvest them, prepare them, and eat them. It's really that simple. That I live by a rule. It's called the KISS rule. Keep it simple, stupid. And that's me talking to myself, okay? Just keep it simple. Go as primitive as possible. And wild edibles, that is a big help. Especially, if you're in a bug out situation, you can literally pick the wild edibles as you go. Okay. All right. I'm answering a question from, the bugs. Whoo. Well, yeah, the bugs are rough down here, but if you eat a lot of garlic, and I do mean a lot of garlic, that does help keep the bugs away from you. Okay. I'm answering a question from Andrew. Any city you recommend? I'm looking at land near Lake City and Ocala. Figured I'd try to stay close to a state park. Yes, that is a great idea. Ocala, that's a good area. And, find you a rural area, and get to know your neighbors. And find out the ones you can trust and the ones you can't. And then once you get to know your neighbors, form you a mutual assistance group, a MAG team. Like where I live at now, if anything happens, my neighbors, they got my back and I got their back. And we all have cameras up, so everything is being recorded. Every vehicle that drives down this road, because we live on a dead end road, it's all being recorded. And we know what vehicles belong and what vehicles do not belong. And we literally have walkie-talkies. So, we're planning for the future. Rechargeable walkie-talkies, so we can hook them up to our solar and recharge them. That way, when these cell phones are down, which literally they're spying on us with these things, okay? That's why I keep a piece of tape over my camera. I keep my cameras blocked off. Sure, they can hear everything I'm saying, but they can't see everything, and a lot of people take that for granted. That's pretty sweet. Struck out with the MAG here. People are selfish, it seems, or don't want to do things. So just talk on. Okay. Yeah. It's hard to find a good MAG team. But if you're looking, if you're in Florida, you can join our MAG team. And, we have monthly meetings. And, you may need to bug out to my spot. Or, I may need to bug out to your spot. We're like-minded people. So you've been drafted into the All-American Preppers MAG team. Okay. Yeah, same here. I was about to ask for advice for a lone wolf. Okay. For a lone wolf, you need to understand a lone man is easy prey. You you cannot stay up all the time. You need someone to watch out for you. So for a lone wolf, I recommend getting dogs. And also watch my videos about perimeter protection. And always hit that like button and leave a comment. Ads. What what was that? Ad came up? I thought I had all that turned off. Sorry about that. I don't even know how that happened. See, that's the problem when Little Miss Prepper isn't here. She's my tech person. She's a lot younger than me. You know, I don't know how to do all this tech stuff. Luckily, I'm able to go live without her, but that's really all I know how to do. So I apologize for these ads in advance. Yeah, I got 2 ads. Some may be on. No, I'm not getting any ads on my end. So I'm not sure about that. When little Miss Prepper gets home, I do too salty. Yeah, all good. Okay, so yeah, it's hard for me to stay on topic when Little Miss Prepper isn't here. For a lone wolf, I recommend getting you dogs. Now, don't go out and spend a lot of money on some high breed dog. What I found out is if you go to the pound and you find you a dog that hasn't been treated right and he's on death row, because I always get dogs where they'll have he has behavioral problems, or this or that. Well, when you take that dog in and you show them a lot of love and take good care of them, they will reward you with loyalty. That's why, I prefer getting rescue. I rescue dogs. That's, I would not ever buy a dog. Now, of course, you do got to pay to pound some money to get the dog. But when you do, they've already had all their shots and everything. But me personally, now everybody has their own dog breed that they prefer. Okay. So, go with what you like. Me, I always look for a dog that has German Shepherd in it. Just from my past experiences, a German Shepherd has more of a pack mentality, and they're just easier for me personally to train. So I always get a German Shepherd mix, and because a purebred dog, they just seem to have too many health issues. But when you get a mixed breed dog, you just have less issues with them as far as their health goes. Like, for instance, my last 2 dogs I got, both of them, they're Shepherd's mix, and both of them on there says does not get along with other dogs. Well, I got one. I had him for a while. I seen another one come up for adoption. I went and got him. And at first, they did want to fight each other. Well, what I did was me and Little Miss Prepper, we put them on leashes with the choker chain on them, and we just walked them. We kept them far enough apart where they couldn't fight, and they would look at each other. They'd look at each other, and we just kept walking them together and keeping them separated, and eventually now they're around each other all the time and they're best buddies. Just be careful when you feed them. It's best to feed them separately because you don't know if your dog's going to be food aggressive or not. And generally, you know, from my experience, when your dogs get in a real vicious dog fight, they have problems getting along from then on out. Now, my mom, she's listening. She can testify to that because she had two dogs that got along great, and then one of them caught a rat, and then they got in a fight over it, and they never got along again for a very long time. So feed them separately. That way you don't have that food aggression problem. But I recommend German Shepherds, and I just seem to have the best luck with them. And for a lone wolf, get you dogs. Okay? And now also remember this. You're responsible for that dog. Okay, Salty Dog 339. Great idea. Same here too. Chihuahua's fault. Been a pain. Yeah. Once they fight, they just don't want to get along. So do everything you can to avoid them getting in a fight. A couple of reasons, because then they're not going to want to get along. And one of them can get hurt. And, you know, that may be a trip to the vet, and that's going to cost you money. Now, excuse me. Now, I recommend that you slowly introduce the dogs to each other, feed them separately, and remember this: when you have a dog, no matter what that dog does, you're responsible for that. These dogs are pigs, do so, roughly 100 pounds, not ankle biters. Yeah, I have one ankle biter dog that it was our first dog that me and little Miss Prepper, well, I told her I wanted a dog, and she brought home this Chihuahua Terrier mix. And I looked at her and I'm like, well, where's the rest of the dog? Yeah. What you need, Mom? Okay. Mom, you want to come say hi?
No, I look like him.
Oh, you look beautiful, Mother.
No, I don't.
Oh, my mother's shy. I have such a wonderful mother. I'm blessed with that. But, yeah, my dad, you know, he's in the hospital right now at the VA. He's really dealing with a lot. So we're dealing with a lot. So I'm spending a lot of time at my mom's. Yeah, that ain't no dog. That's what I said. I'm like, where's the rest of the dog? Mom, Salty Dog said hi, Mom. She said hello. Hello. And I want to thank you all for being here and, you know, supporting the channel. Please hit that like button. After this video runs, if you could come back and hit the like button and leave a comment, that'll raise the algorithm. And, you know, us YouTube creators, you know, we don't get paid much at all. Okay, so if you cannot afford to donate to a channel you like, if you let the commercials play through, we get a little bit from the commercials. So, you know, I understand that money is tight. So if you cannot afford to donate money to a channel and you like the channel, to help support the channel, let the commercials play. And, you know, we get a little kickback off of that. So that helps the channel out. Okay. Andrew's asking a question. Do you or Little Miss Prepper have a Cash App? I know YouTube takes about 50% of donations. I believe they take 30%. I'm not exactly sure. You know what? I can call Little Miss Prepper up and ask her. And thank you for that, because this gives me an excuse to call her. Let me call her up real quick and ask her that information. So bear with me, folks. As I'm letting this thing ring, I'll call and see how.
Hey.
Hey, beautiful.
Hey, babe.
I'm doing a live. Hey, can you say hey to everyone?
Hi, everyone.
Okay, I have someone asking, do we have a cash app so they can donate money without having to send it through YouTube?
No, we do not, but we do have PayPal.
Okay, we have PayPal.
And we do have the link to it in the description of our channel.
Okay, we have PayPal and we have a link to PayPal and a description in the description to our channel.
Yes.
Okay. So I just needed to know that. I had someone ask me that.
Okay. Yeah.
So you go. Explain me how to do it because I wouldn't even know how to do it.
Okay. What you would do is you go to the channel itself, like you would go to our channel, and then you would go to the description of our channel, like in the top, where it says All American Prepper 13 at All American Prepper 13. You would hit. There's a arrow. You would click on that, and it will pull it down, and you will see the links that we have. Like we have PayPal, Patreon. I believe that's all we have, and possibly my email on that one as well. And that is where you will see the links, like the PayPal link.
Okay, so PayPal.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, sweetheart. I love you so much. And if you pick up a mirror and look in it, you're looking at the most beautiful woman in the world.
Well, thank you, baby.
All right, I love you, beautiful. Let me get back to it.
All right, love you too.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, let me. Yes, I see. Okay, we're Little Miss Prepper. She's at work. She works. Okay, read this to me, Mom. Tell them I forgot. Oh. Yes, my mom, she has a lot of chronic pain, but she deals with it and she pushes through it and she gets out there and helps as much as she can. Because, I grow a garden on her property also. That way she's always got fresh vegetables that she can go and get. And she gets out there and helps out as much as she can with the garden. Okay, yep, I see them. Yep, 2+ email is there. Thank you, Salty Dog 339. I appreciate you so much. Every little bit helps. So if I had a hat off, I'd take my hat off to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And like again, Little Miss Prepper isn't here, so it's hard for me to stay on topic. So y'all, like I said, if you have any questions, just ask me the questions and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Until you ask the questions, what I will say is I at a very young age, because my dad's a Vietnam veteran, he taught us everything he learned from the VC. And we lived very primitively, okay? Because eventually, wow, I'm from Bangladesh. Well, glad to have you here. I can't pronounce that. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. I have pronunciation problems. I had a heat stroke when I was in Afghanistan, and I had to learn how to talk all over again. So I have a problem pronouncing a lot of words. No, I'm not drunk or any of that. It's just I'm sleep deprived and I have problems pronouncing words. That right there, stay hydrated. Don't have a heat stroke. Don't get overheated because, that was rough when I had to heat. Well, I had on all that body armor on and it was so hot over there. and I wasn't drinking enough water. And next thing you know, I'm waking up in a hospital bed, well, in the infirmary. And I had a heat stroke over there. But I pulled through just fine. Everything works. I just have pronunciation problems. But it didn't take me long to get back into the fight. I don't know if you know, I work private security. I did PMC work. Now, when I made a big mistake when I got with Little Miss Prepper, I introduced her to one of my battle buddies' wives. Well, he got killed over there, and then she come crying to my wife, and my wife seen what she went through, and she was like, you will not be doing that kind of work anymore. So now, I'm a bouncer at a strip club. That's she doesn't mind me being around naked strippers because she knows I'm not a cheater. I'm a very loyal person, and I would not ever cheat on Little Miss Prepper. After water, food, shelter, everything else is a luxury. Absolutely, Andrew. Everything else is a luxury. Now, I remember what I was talking about. Start off, of course, if you got the money, get the pews, get the ammunition, get all the luxuries, okay? But also get you a bow, practice with that bow, and start hunting now. That way you will already be skilled at hunting. But when that store bought bow breaks, what are you going to do? So you need to learn how to make your own bow. And you can make a bow out of a lot of things. And here on YouTube, I have a video on how to make a bow. But I encourage you to watch other bow makers. That way you see it from a different set of eyes. But learn how to make a primitive bow. That way, when all your preps run out and you're out of ammunition, or something happens to all your preps, you know how to make a bow and you know how to hunt with it because you already been doing that. Like I said, me personally, I approach it from the primitive aspect. Like, for instance, I do not use refrigeration. So make sure you got salt in your preps. We're infested with wild hogs down here. I mean, they are everywhere. So I will go out and I'll bow hunt a wild hog. I'll go ahead and gut it right there on the spot. I'll bring it home. I cut that meat up into long, thin strains. I lay it on a smoking rack. After I cut it up the way I want it, and the thinner you cut it, the better this works, okay? I salt it down real good. I lay it on a smoking rack, and I use the smoke to cook the meat. Now, don't let it get too close to the heat. You're not trying to cook it with the heat. You're trying to smoke it. And if you slow smoke, if you salted that meat down real good and slow smoke it, and then, it will last a very long time. That, I don't have the money for one thing. I can't go down and just buy a bunch of canned goods. But, if you can do that, you do that. Do you have to have it in closed area? You don't have to, but it helps. Okay? A couple of reasons. When you have it in a closed-in area, it helps hold the smoke in. and it keeps the bugs off. Because down here in Florida, we got a lot of bugs. But yeah, and the smoke also helps keeps the bugs away. Having it in a closed-in area helps. But just say you're starting from scratch. What I would do, I would go out and get me some blocks, cut me some oak limbs, get the fire going, and then once the fire burns down, just put oak limbs on there and smoke that meat. You have definitely need to up my library. Yeah, definitely up your library, because that's what it's going to come down to. That's, when you have no internet, you don't have any of that, you're going to have a library. That's why I recommend taking notes. Go back, rewatch the videos, take notes. You can literally write your own book. Okay. But for instance, get you some blocks, block it up pretty high, go to your oven, take an oven rack out of there, set it on top of those blocks, lay your meat out across that, make sure it's far enough away from the heat to where it's not getting cooked by the heat. It's getting cooked by the smoke. And that meat will last for months. And also, if you have the luxury to be able to vacuum seal it, well, it'll last probably for a couple of years. I really don't know exactly how long, because I've got some that I slow smoked. I vacuum sealed it over 2 years ago, and I have a lot of it. And occasionally I'll open it up. I'll open a package of it up, and it's still good. Now, it's very salty, so make sure you drink a lot of water with that. Now, also on the plus side, it's going to be very flavorful with that smoke. Okay. Now, just go down and get you a big bag of rice. All right. Now, here's something you need to know about rice. When you buy rice, before you long-term store it, there's bugs in that rice when you buy it. So what you do is you get that rice, you find somebody with a freezer, or you may have your own. I go to my mom's house and I put it in her freezer, and I leave it in there for like a week. And that freezer, by freezing it, it kills those bugs. I learned that the hard way. I bought a bunch of rice. I sealed it in Mylar. I did everything the way you're supposed to do it. Well, I opened the bag of it up, and it was eaten up by bugs. So I was like, wow. So, and these little bugs are called weevils. Blossom Beauty. Hello there. Good morning. Glad to have you here. I appreciate everyone here. Okay. So what you do is you freeze that rice. Yeah, y'all chat amongst each other also. And you freeze that rice, and then you store it, the way you're going to store it. There's many different ways to store it. You can store it in mason jars. There's lots of ways to store it. Me, I store it, I vacuum seal it, and I put the hand warmer in there that pulls out the moisture and all. And I vacuum seal it and put it away. Now, where I'm going with this is, when you get that rice and you're cooking the rice, you put that smoked meat in there, in with the rice, and the seasoning from the meat seasons the rice and the salt, that's been on the meat, seasons it very well. Yeah, I'd love to see y'all chatting amongst each other. That's wonderful. Like I said, I just did it yesterday, but we got badges and stuff like that. We're really trying to up our game on YouTube because Little Miss Prepper, she's tired of me working security because people are just losing their minds. I have videos of her sewing me up. I have a video where I got cut with a box cutter on the back of my neck and she had to sew that up. If you have the money, Refuge Medical, I strongly recommend taking their course, Stop the Bleed. Me and Little Miss Prepper took that course. I'm a field medic. I'm not a doctor, but it's still good to take courses, if you don't use it, you lose it, so to speak. And it was the first course. Doing great. It's effing Friday going to PTO. So yeah, my brother. Yeah, people seem to be getting crazier than usual. Yes. Now, I have a theory behind that, but I can't say it because then YouTube will flag my video. That's just a theory, okay? But it's also people are under a lot of financial stress also. When people are having a hard time paying their bills because everything costs so much, that financial stress, that's rough on a relationship also. So, when you're with your spouse or your girlfriend, whoever you're with, really try not to let the financial struggle cause problems in your relationship. That I've seen a lot of relationships not make it just because of financial stress. So try to keep that financial stress from destroying your relationship with whoever your significant other is, okay? Like, for a lone wolf, dogs, I trust my dogs and, my dogs eat well, Now, I don't feed my dogs too much pork because, pork is bad for the pancreas of a dog for some reason. But I have a lot of friends that give me deer meat. And as soon as they give it to me, well, of course, I cook some of it right then, okay? But the rest, I salt it down, I cut it, and I slow smoke it, and I vacuum seal it. And that's how I treat my dogs. This dog food you buy, I just don't think it's very healthy for your dog. And they may claim that it's healthy and all, So I supplement their diet with the deer jerky or whatever it is that I have that I can add in with their dog food just to make sure they're getting everything they need. Okay. And, again, if you have a dog and it gets loose and bites someone, that's on you. That's your responsibility. That's why I have 3 fences up. My dogs are not getting loose because I have 3 fences up. They literally have to get through 3 fences to get loose. And my dogs are very aggressive towards strangers. Keep your dog isolated away from people, and it will just naturally be aggressive towards strangers. That's just the way it works. Well, that's the way it works for me. So like again, I love the questions. So anything I can, help you with, that's why I do this channel. I want to help people. Like, another thing, when I kill a hog, because literally there's so many hogs around here, I can harvest the hog anytime I want. Okay. So when I have some extra aluminum foil, I'll cook the hog meat and I'll wrap it in foil and I'll go in town and hand that out to the homeless people. Now, I have my regulars, that are veterans, because I try to help the veterans first. Okay. There's a lot of people that are out there living on the streets, and it's not because that they're a drug addict. It's because they're suffering from mental illness. How long can you keep water and cans of food? Because I've been stocking up on both. Well, that is situational. Okay. The expiration date on a can, that's just best buy. Okay. But you buy canned food, make sure it doesn't get dented. But if you keep it in a cool, dark environment, it will keep for many years. A dark, cool, very low humidity. That way, the cans don't rust. It will store for years. And as far as water goes, it's how you store it. Okay. It's literally, what containers are you using to store it in? Like, one thing I will tell you is, do not ever, if you got a milk jug and it's had milk in it, that plastic absorbs, and that, if it's had milk in it, don't store water in that. It'll go bad. But it comes down to, what you're storing it in. And for my long-term water storage, I just always add some bleach in there, unscented bleach, and I add bleach in there, and that makes the water store for a very long time because it kills anything. It keeps from, pathogens growing in there. So get the most sturdiest container you can, because eventually, if you're using a plastic container, eventually that plastic is going to break down and start releasing that plastic chemical in your water. So you can store water indefinitely. It's all according to what you're storing it in. I hope I answered that question. And like I said, with the canned goods, warm, dark, dry place. I mean, not warm, excuse me, a cool, dark, dry environment, and that canned food will store for a very long time. Now, I got a prepper tip for you. If you have the money, go to the LDS church website, because, regardless of how you feel about the Mormons, okay, let's just, put that aside. All right. But the Mormons, it's called the Bishop Storehouse. They have the best 20-year shelf life food storage that they sell at cost. They don't make a profit. They sell it at cost. So that's a good way to go, is go to look and find your local Bishop Storehouse and go there. And that's a great place to buy your long-term storage. I am storing it in a closet. Yeah, that's a good place to store it. Pull shock, absolutely. Pull shock works great. That's from what I know, that's like bleach on steroids. Okay. But I'm not a science guy. I'm a very primitive guy. Bottle of water I bought from the store. Well, a bottle of water you bought from the store, again, in a cool, dark area, that should store for a very long time. Now, just remember, though, that plastic is releasing chemicals in that water, which for a man really shouldn't be drinking these plastic bottles of water, because the chemical that's released into that water, it ups a man's estrogen. I'm going to butcher this word. Maybe someone can put it in the comment below. Estrogen, it's a female hormone. And for some reason, that plastic, maybe someone can comment below that word, but it, from what I've gathered, from studies and all, that it up a man's estrogen, so it's not healthy for a man to drink that. Now, one thing I have learned, now, it's better to drink something that's been stored in plastic than it is to die from thirsting to death. So you got to weigh your pros and cons, but keep that bottled water out of the sun, because that breaks down that plastic immediately. What's your main meat source? Do you have better luck fishing or hunting down there? Yes. I've been hunting and fishing my whole life. Yeah, lady hormones. Thank you. That the lady hormones, it releases estrogen in a man, and it's just not healthy for us. But my main source of meat is, again, fish, hog meat, deer meat, rabbit meat, because Little Miss Prepper, she raises rabbits for meat. And so we eat a lot of rabbit. And when this duck season, see, because I don't buy butter, okay? But any animal that I get that has fat on it, I save the drippings from that. The lard, like some of these wild hogs that I kill, man, they got a lot of fat on them. And I render that fat into lard. It's grease. And that's what I use. That's my butter, okay? And like, for instance, duck. A wild duck, if you pluck when you're cooking that duck, a duck is a greasy, it has a lot of oil in it. Well, I keep all that oil and I store it and I use it to flavor my food. And, when I need to fry something, I just fry it in that. So, I literally produce my own, I guess they call it lard. But any fat that I get a hold of, I render that fat down, keep all the oil that comes off of that. And then I put some salt in there, and I put it in a mason jar. And I'm not going to say that it stores forever. Nevertheless, I have never had it go bad on me. I've never had oil that I stored go bad on me. And I have some that I've stored for years, and I've never had it go bad on me. I think it's a combination of the oil and the salt. And, you keep, when you do that, then make sure you cook that oil down to get every bit of the moisture out of it. I believe that's another reason why it keeps for so long, is because there's absolutely no moisture. When it's no longer steaming water off of there, that's when it's time to store it. What about alcohol wine? I have a whole bunch I don't want to throw away. Well, from what I understand, now, I'm not a professional scientist, okay? But, alcohol stores for a very long time. And wine, one or two things happen to it when you store wine. And again, it needs to be stored properly, okay? But if it's stored properly, it either gets better through time, or it'll turn into, maybe one of the viewers can say it turns into something. I'm trying to think of the name. Vinegar, I believe it turns into. But, again, store it like you would your water, your canned goods, in a cool, dark environment. And as far as I know, it will store indefinitely. Now, it's all according to what kind of alcohol you're talking about. If you're talking about Wild Turkey, is it the alcohol you drank? Because if you get the alcohol that you drank and it comes in a glass bottle, it should store indefinitely. And if I'm wrong, someone please, put in the comments below. Look, I'm thick-skinned. We can disagree. Yes, alcohol to drink. As far as I know, that stuff will store indefinitely. Now, that I know. No, if I'm wrong, someone please put that in the comments section. But as far as I know, it'll store indefinitely if it's in a glass container. Because some of these liquors, they're selling in plastic containers. Yeah, right. Just keep it out of sunlight and should last a long time. Barter item. Absolutely. That's another thing I wanted to bring up, because, there was a time, when Little Miss Prepper wouldn't let me do that kind of work anymore. I was lost. I didn't know what to do, because that was literally the only thing I knew how to do as far as making a living. There for a while, we were homeless. We were living in a tent. And yeah, I was working, I just went down. I believe at the time I went to Burger King, and there's no job beneath you, So I was working, but we were still homeless until I was able to save up enough money. But, if you have someone that has property, the best way that I know to do it is to go down to one of these buy here, pay here places that sell sheds, and they'll customize them, and they will finance them. Even with bad credit, they'll finance them. But you can literally tell them, how many windows you want, what kind of door you want on it. You can get them with lofts. They would literally customize that. And, that's a tiny home. And, you go down and buy one of those, and, you get on the payment plan, and of course, if you can afford to pay cash for it, absolutely, because interest on anything, that's how they keep us poor people poor. is interest. Okay. But if you have to make the monthly payments, then do so. You know, at the time I was working at Burger King, and we found someone that let us put one of those sheds up on their property. And we lived there for a long time. We saved. And eventually, we had enough money. We bought our own piece of property. And we had the shed moved to the property. And it's a tiny home. And it's paid off. There's no 30-year mortgage. You know, I mean, that thing was like $5,000 and my home was paid off. Yeah, debtor's prison, keep us poor is exactly right. Yes. You know, try to stay debt free. You know, when you're in debt, me personally, I think that as a form of slavery. You know, so try to stay out of debt the best you can. And one of the best ways to stay out of debt is don't just live within your means, live below your means. You know, our house, we live in a tiny home. It's one of buy here, pay here sheds. It's paid off. Okay. And we were fortunate enough that we found someone with some property that owner financed it to us. And, you know, we paid that property off as quickly as we could. But I will tell you, you know, my property tax this year was $4,000. I don't even know how I'm going to pay that. Now, I normally don't drink this stuff because it is poison. But I'm at my mom's house and, you know, I can only be so strong, and I'm going to drink it. But I recommend staying away from that soda. I don't buy it. But I'm at my mom's. She loves her soda. So occasionally I will indulge. And save them cans. Every morning. Well, actually when I come home from work. Now you got to keep in mind, I wear full body armor. So I've been on my feet for 12 hours. My shifts are 12 hours long. From 7 at night till 7 in the morning. I literally cannot leave that place until the money is in the safe and the safe is locked. Because I am security. And, you know, they trust me. Because no money has ever come up missing around me while I was working security. Ever. So, you know, I'm not allowed to leave there till that money's locked up in the safe. So I've been on my feet for 12 hours with that body armor on. But I'm in air conditioning, okay? Because I also, on the weekends, take any side hustle you can. You know, I work at an airsoft field. And I actually enjoy that. But I do that airsoft. And, you know, I play it as much as I can because I'm literally not playing airsoft. I'm training. Airsoft is the best combat training when it comes to pew-pews that you can get without someone getting hurt. Because, like, for instance, the Glock airsoft gun is literally made by Glock. And it functions exactly like a Glock. You load it the same way. It's got the same weight. I mean, it's the same. It just doesn't use gunpowder. It uses green gas, which you put in the magazine. You pump the green gas in there. But the magazine goes in there the same. It's the same. So if you go down to your local airsoft field and play airsoft, that's the best training you can get on your own, without someone training you. Now, I recommend going to your local airsoft field and watching who's the best players, and then, talk to them and let them mentor you. Because when I'm training airsoft, it's literally within shotgun range, and those airsoft guns, they're so realistic. They have the AR platform. They have any kind of gun you can think of. And for people out there that run an AR, you can literally get an airsoft gun and put your light on the exact same place, put your scope, set it up exactly how your real pew-pew is set up. And it's great training. They even have body armor for airsoft. But for me, it's one thing wearing that body armor all night in air conditioning. It's a whole nother ball game when you're playing airsoft with that body armor on, running around in this heat. But I do it. I do it a lot. Now, there is times I take it off because I just want to enjoy myself and just have a good time. Like, sometimes I'll go and play airsoft and I'm like, look, today I'm just doing it for fun. And then I will not wear my armor. But when I'm training, I wear that armor. That way I'm used to running around with it. I'm used to maneuvering with it. For some people, body armor may not be for you. It may be too heavy for you. So I recommend everyone get body armor before they outlaw it. Okay. And I have a ballistic shield that my subscriber, they asked that I didn't mention their name. So I'm not, but I literally had a subscriber send me a shield. I want to get the name right. STR. I'll make a whole nother video about that. I'm going to make 2 videos today. I'm going to make a video about that shield just to make sure I got the information right. And I'll make the wild edible video also. So I'm going to make those 2 videos today. I'll make the shield video first. And then I'll make the wild edible video. Now, it'll take a while for it to upload. But, for that bump in the night, I recommend a ballistic shield. And, ballistic shields are very expensive. But this particular one, it is really awesome. And, most home invasions happen at night. Or, you have that bump in the night. Well, it takes time to put on your body armor. Okay? But if you got that ballistic shield, and they sell them in a small, medium, and large. And the viewer sent me the small one, which is a little over 6 pounds. But it's one of those you grab and go, I grab my ballistic shield and I grab whatever self-protection tool that, I'm going to use. And, you can hide behind that ballistic shield. Somebody come, worst case scenario, somebody, shooting at you. That ballistic shield will stop any handgun round that I know of. And it's just great. You just grab it and go. So I'm going to make a video on that. I love it. I strongly recommend getting a ballistic shield. You know, I recommend body armor, but that particular ballistic shield, and most ballistic shields are very expensive, but this particular one, it is of great quality, but it's $599 because I looked it up. But the particular company that sells them, and like I said, I'll make a video about that. That way you'll know exactly. Your first time purchase, you get 10% off. So it will be $450. Oh, thank you, Salty Dog, for the donation. Thank you so much, brother. That means so much to me. You know, we're really struggling, and much appreciated. I don't want to get all emotional, okay? So, you know, I don't want to ruin my reputation and start crying, but I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Me and Little Miss Prepper, we need that. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Little Miss Prepper, you know, we really need it. We're struggling. We got two things that we're struggling with. Thank you, Salty Dog. Thank you so much. And I see where you commented. You're welcome. I really appreciate that. So here's our situation right now. We're trying to come up with money to pay our property tax. That's $4,000. And Little Miss Prepper was in a car accident. Thank God she didn't get injured, okay? But our deductible is $1,000. So, and we just don't have it. They literally have our car, and they're not going to give it back until we pay the deductible. So, and I hope they don't gouge me, you know, by charging me storage fees. So she's in the process of trying to get a credit card, you know, trying to get approved, which we hate going that route, but she needs her car, you know, to get back and forth to work. Right now, you know, I'm having to, you know, she has a car, I have a motorcycle. So I'm having to take her back and forth to work on the motorcycle. And this morning traffic on that bike, it's just dangerous, you know, and I'm not worried for me. Okay, I'm good, but I worry for her. You know, her brother, you know, he was paralyzed in a motorcycle accident. So, you know, look, you know, I'm the president of a motorcycle club, okay? And being in a motorcycle club, the most dangerous thing about being in a motorcycle club is the motorcycle. So if you're going to ride one of those death machines, because I've lost a lot of friends on them, but I'm still going to ride, at least wear a helmet, okay? You know, I mean, it's one thing if you get hurt and all, and, you know, you can tell that it's obvious I've had some brain trauma. You know, I boxed for many years, and then I just got too old to go that many rounds. So then I went over to MMA. And so I started fighting MMA because it's just either 3 3-minute rounds or 5 5-minute rounds. Well, I can go that distance, but that's my limit. You know, I am 50 years old. Okay. And I do look a lot older than I am. And, you know, I do have PTSD, and I believe it's aging me. But I don't hide it. I use it as a strength, you know. having PTSD makes me very good at working security. You know, I have a heightened sense of awareness, you know, and I can read a room real good. And I'm just, you know, I'm watching everyone at all times. You know, I have been shot working as a bouncer. Little Miss Prepper, she was standing next to me. And I got shot with buckshot. And it hit me in my ballistic vest. And two of the pellets ricocheted off my vest. And one of them hit her in her arm. And another one hit her in her thigh. So, Little Miss Prepper will not be working security with me anymore. I'm just not going to risk it. You know, she wanted to work security. You know, we needed extra money. But ever since she got shot, she's like, nope, not doing that. And, man, I don't want her to do it. It's just too dangerous. You know, I'm not concerned for myself. You know, I've lived my life. You know, she's a lot younger than me, so she's got her whole life ahead of her. And so I don't want her risk getting injured. But, you know, but that's what I do. Like when I do my morning runs, because when I get home from work, I run 7 miles. And as I'm running, I'm picking up aluminum cans. I run down one side of the road, stop and picking up cans. And then on my way back, I run down the other side of the road and pick up those cans. And I pile them up to where my mother's truck just can't haul anymore. And, you know, so it's like money in the bank, you know. So when I take those cans in, it's kind of crazy, you know. I'm trading aluminum for aluminum, because when I take those cans in, one of the first things I do when I get my money back from those cans is I go and buy aluminum foil. So when I kill one of these wild hogs and I cook the meat, I can wrap it in that foil and take it down and give it to the homeless veterans I know. And then anything I have left, I just give it to anybody that needs it. You know, so for people that are living out there on the street, and say you see them and they're intoxicated, well, they probably have, you know, mental health issues, and they're self-medicating. So try not to judge people. Okay. Now, be aware of your safety. You know, some of those people are batshit crazy, but so am I. All right. But and I don't do it to be a good guy or holier than thou or any of that. I just like to do my part. You know, I have excess meat. I have nowhere to put it. So I go and hand it out to the homeless, because I really enjoy hunting. And I like to keep that skill. You know, and the more I hunt, the better I get at it. And I do enjoy, you know, because I got my regular guys that I stop by. And when they see me pull up, you know, they're just so happy, you know, to get because I wrap it in foil and put it in a cooler. That way they get a warm meal. You know, and those guys, man, they really appreciate it. I can tell that, you know, most of them, they really appreciate it. You know, here I come, got my backpack on my motorcycle. I get off my bike, I open the backpack up, and I start handing the meat out. You know, and like I said, I do my part. You know, I do the best I can. I like to help people. You know, that's just my nature. I'm not saying I'm a good guy, okay, or any of that. It's just what I do. How often do you harvest rabbits? Do you only have 2 breeders? No. Little Miss Prepper, she has 4 breeder rabbits, and we harvest them. You know, once a rabbit gets a certain age, that meat gets tough. Hey, Moon Sprout, glad to have you in the chat. Yeah, so a trick is, if you're hunting and you got you a rabbit, if you cook that rabbit in a pressure cooker, it'll make that meat tender. Okay, but we just harvest the rabbits as needed, and they breed a lot, and we grow our own rabbit food. Rabbits, they love banana leaves. They love sweet potato leaves. And so we feed them a lot of that, you know, and I cut my own grass, and they love them grass trimmings. So we don't buy much rabbit food at all. We do our best, you know, to be self-sufficient. Thank you for welcoming Moonsprout into the chat. Thank you. Yeah, y'all talk amongst each other, you know, become friends. You know, this is how we meet people. You know, we are like-minded people. You know, and I assume if you're here, you know, you're wanting to learn stuff. And I learn everything the hard way, so learn from my mistakes. Okay? Like, until I figured out the 5-gallon bucket system for our toilet, we were virtually just digging a hole, and that was rough. But, you know, you learn. But now that I've done told you that information, now you know. We feed a lot of sweet potato leaves and mulberry leaves. This is from Moonsprout. They still own pellets, but I'm learning the rabbit safe plants. Yes, you got to be careful what you feed your rabbits, because there is a lot of plants out there that they cannot eat. They can't. But sweet potato leaf, mulberry leaves. Okay. And that's funny, you know, Mulberry. That's a small town I grew up in. You know, that's the name of the small town I grew up in. Polk County, Mulberry, Florida. I hope I don't make the news as Florida man. You know, one of those hold my beer situations. Mulberry leaves are high in protein. Okay, thank you for sharing that information. I'm going to re-watch this video. And like I said, you know, it's good for people to take notes. And that's going in my journal. Little Miss Prepper is going to be happy about that. Okay, so, man, we're on a roll. We got the donation. Thank you, Salty Dog. We got the mulberry leaves tip. Thank you, Moonsprout, for that. Why no chickens? Just wondering. Well, because I have someone that raises chickens. So, and they're in the MAG team. So we got that covered. If I want a chicken, I just go to them and they'll give me a chicken. And again, you know, when I cook that chicken, I pluck it. I save the drippings off of that. I save that oil. It's great for flavoring your food. Like I said, I put salt in it, cook all the moisture out of it. It's like any other fat. And, you know, your body needs fat. You know, there's this thing called rabbit starvation. If you just eat nothing but rabbit, because rabbits are so lean that they literally have no fat on them, you will starve to death. It's called rabbit starvation. And it's because, you know, they're high in protein. They're good food. It's good to eat. but you have to have some fat in your diet. That's a fact. I've done my study and my researches on it. And but yeah, we have someone in the mag team that's got the chicken part covered. I go down there, she gives me all the eggs I want. If we want a chicken that night, she'll give me a chicken to cook that night. So yeah, well, heck yeah, we love chicken, and I love eggs. Eggs are very, opinions vary, okay, but in my opinion, eggs are very healthy for you. I know when I eat eggs, I feel better. And even at my age, I still MMA fight. Yeah, I do it for the money. I get paid for fighting. Now, I do have to. There's things like before you MMA fight, you have to get an AIDS test, you have to get a hepatitis test, and you have to get an eye examination. You got to get checked over to make sure you're not going to kill over in the middle of the fight. And once you're over 40, you got to get an EKG to make sure your heart can handle it. But yeah, I still MMA fight, because for the money. They say eggs are like a multivitamin. Since it's a baby chicken, it has everything the body needs. Yes, I believe that. I do believe that. That's smart. We can't do it all, even though sometimes we want to. Yes, exactly. That's why, I handle the hog hunting part and the hog meat. I distribute it out amongst the mag team, and anything left goes to the homeless. And then we call her the chicken lady, okay, because she's got a lot of chickens. So to give me and little Miss Prepper a chicken to eat, she wouldn't even notice that. She's really into her chickens, and she does a great job with them, and she does barter with them, and she does sell them, but she likes bartering. She likes trading, she'll literally, the one thing I like to buy at Walmart now is Sasquatch soap. I love that soap. Okay. And she tried the Sasquatch soap, and she'll trade a chicken for a bar of Sasquatch soap. True story. That Sasquatch soap, I'm not affiliated with them or any of that, but that stuff really makes me feel clean. And I buy the pine tar Sasquatch soap because that pine tar helps keep the bugs off. I know I'm drinking poison, but I'm over at my mom's, and that's what she has. I'm only so strong, a nice cold soda every once in a while. But yeah, she'll trade a chicken for a bar of that Sasquatch soap. A lot of my mag team, I talked about, when I find a good product, I talk about it. Like Core, the Core EDC belts, they're the best belts on the market that I know. And the Core battle belts, like I said, I've been in combat, and I know a good belt when I wear it. And their battle belts are awesome. And they also have ballistic glasses. I really like them. So, I like, the company Core. I believe it's Kore. I went to school in Marlbury, so they didn't teach us how to spell all that well. But, I believe I made videos yesterday, as a matter of fact, about the core belts. And as I was making the video cut off. That's because I was fixing to reach over and show the core ballistic glasses. So I just had to make a whole nother video on the ballistic glasses. But that's something you're going to need now. You're going to need you a good pair of ballistic glasses. You know, I mean, getting something in your eye in a grid down situation, that's a big problem. It's best just to wear safety glasses. You know, when I'm hunting, I wear safety glasses because I've seen buddies catch, you know, getting all excited and chasing a hog through the woods, you know, with their dogs on them, and get stuck right in the eye with an oak limb. And when I seen that happen to my buddy, from then on out, I wear me those ballistic glasses when I hog hunt because I don't want to catch an oak limb in the eye. So add that to your preps is a good pair of safety glasses. And if you wear prescription glasses, you need to get you a couple of extra pair. And I recommend getting you the kind of glasses that are made for sports. That way they're much more durable. You know, I believe they call them Rex Specs. But, you know, glasses, you know, if you wear prescription glasses, you're going to need a couple extra pair of those. I mean, you know, trying to make it through this world in a grid down situation and having a hard time seeing, that's not good. So, you know, what kind of armor do you recommend? Okay. Now, I recommend steel armor, okay? Now, the reason why is because the other kind of armor that they make, it has a 5-year shelf life. And, you know, I like to buy things one time. So I recommend steel body armor. Because if you take care of it and you don't leave it in your car when it's hot, because down here, you know, people talk about solar ovens. Down here in Florida, if you park your car out in the sun, you can literally cook inside that thing. It gets so hot. And I put that test to I put it to the test. And it's a true story. I guess that's another idea to make a video of, is frying an egg in a solar oven called a car. You know, if your windows are not tinted and you got it parked out in that direct sunlight, man, that dashboard gets so hot. That's another thing. Solar ovens. You know, I build my own. Oh, that's another video. But you can buy a good solar oven. If you have the money, buy one. If you don't, I'll show you how to build one. They're really simple to build. Really simple. But a solar oven, that's a good way to go. That way, you know, no one can smell your food cooking. In a grid down situation, you know, people smells food. That's going to be a problem. And if you cook it in a solar oven, if you got it built right, because it's supposed, you got to have it sealed up real good. That way it holds the heat in. So literally, if you're cooking on a solar oven and you can smell your food cooking, something ain't right. It should not be leaking that out. So I'm a big advocate of solar ovens, but right now, you know, I got so much oak wood. You know, the hurricane that come through here last year, it tore the property up. The bunker held up great. People's houses around here, they lost their roofs. It destroyed houses, but the bunker, the way I got it built, held up great. I was snug as a bug. So that's how I deal with them hurricanes. Now, since I'm on that subject, this is kind of you can expect crazy from me. It just comes normal. How much solar for your AC unit? It takes a lot of solar to run an AC unit. A lot. And I got mine what they call jerry-rigged, okay? I mean, it's just as redneck as it can get. I mean, I find batteries. I don't care what kind of battery it is. If I can get it to hold a charge, it's getting hooked up to my solar system. And it takes a lot of solar power to run that air conditioner. So we only use it just a little bit. We virtually run it till the batteries are almost dead. I've learned not to drain the batteries completely dead because that shortens the battery life. At least for me, that's, because, I'm using car batteries and lawnmower batteries and motorcycle batteries and virtually any battery I can get my hands on. If I can put a charge on it, I'm hooking it up to my system. And, I've heard a lot of good stuff and a lot of bad stuff about those Harbor Freight solar panels. But for me, for the money, they work great. So I have no problem, going down to Harbor Freight and buying solar panels and putting it into the system. I'm just constantly expanding and expanding and expanding, everything. My solar system, it's growing. Every time I find a battery, every time, and, I have been lucky, and every once in a while I find someone throwing out a solar panel or, at a yard sale. Because, Little Miss Prepper and my mother, they love going to them yard sales. And they get some really good deals on stuff. Like if you live in a trailer or whatever, as crazy as this sounds, put on a motorcycle helmet, put on a bicycle helmet. I know you're like, what? Well, in a hurricane or a tornado, if you got a helmet on, if someone smacks you up against your head, that could possibly save your life. I know, yeah, that sounds crazy, but hey, if it works, it ain't stupid. How much solar for, okay, I read that. Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to run that air. But, Little Miss Prepper, after a hard day's work and all, and then taking a bath in that kiddie pool, she deserves some air conditioning. So me, I'm good. I'm climatized. I grew up. Yeah, I'm that old. Okay, I mean, we grew up poor, and that was actually a blessing. I grew up poor. We didn't have air conditioners in our house when I was growing up. We didn't have them. So, an air conditioner is a luxury. Now, there is some people, that health problems, or that they just can't take the heat. That's why, in a grid down situation, I'm afraid that we are going to lose a lot of elderly people to the heat. Okay. I feel like that's the only luxury I would be worried about, and a small fridge. Yeah, air conditioner is a luxury, and I don't use refrigeration, so I've learned to live without it. like I said, practice drills, go, off grid as possible, you know. If you can't run, be careful, where you're at. Walking down these streets can be dangerous. But if you feel safe, as you're walking down the street, and you're picking up your cans, when you see someone that's cutting an oak tree down, get them oak limbs, bring them home and cook on them outside. Start practicing these things now. That's basically what I'm trying to get through to you, is practice grid down scenarios now. That way, when you're having to live grid down, you've already worked the kinks out. You already know, because there is certain woods out there that if you cook on, it'll kill you. True story. It's a rare thing, but it has happened. So, but I just go with the oak. It's everywhere down here. I virtually got, my neighbors are like, man, why haven't you cut them trees up? And I'm like, why? Because I cook on that wood. I'm not throwing that out. I'm not. That's free energy when I cook. And also, cooking outside on the grill with them oak limbs, I'm not heating up the inside of the bunker. Cooking lets off a lot of heat. So by cooking outside, keeps from it getting so hot in the bunker. And I have that thing so well insulated that I just run the air conditioner for not very long at all, that it cools it down in there. And insulation is the key, to saving money on your electricity bill is insulation. And for me, it's the key to making my batteries last longer, to hold that cool air in, is insulation. So, like I said, y'all ask me questions. That way I'm not just rambling. Okay. Because, I can go at this all day, but, I love answering questions. But you're absolutely correct. An air conditioner is a luxury. There is just some people down here that when the grid goes down, they're going to die from the heat because their bodies just can't handle it. That's why it's so important to climatize your environment. It's very important. So climatize your environment. And, I'm going to give you a little bit of time, to ask me some questions, and then I'll get off of here. And so if you got anything that you want answered, learn from my mistakes, I'll answer them for you. But, okay. Does it freeze where you are in Florida? Maybe 3 days out of the year. Maybe 3 days out of the year, it'll freeze. The rest of the time, it's just hot and hotter. And there's where that kiddie pool comes in, I have videos of it. If you go to my video list, it's on there. So you can look at it two ways. I look at it as, I bet your bathtub ain't as big as mine. So when I just get super, super heated, I just get in that kiddie pool and just cool off. That's my air conditioning, for when Little Miss Prepper is at home. But yeah, it only freezes like 3 days a year out of here. And that's it. Not long at all. And I am so sorry about these stupid ads. I don't know how to stop them. So I apologize for that. When Little Miss Prepper gets home, I'm going to have her fix that. So again, I don't know if it's going to pick up where I left off. I don't know if it's going to cut this section out. I don't know. Matter of fact, let me just look on my phone while an ad is running to see what the hell's going on here. But yeah, y'all come at me with the questions, please. Trying to pull this up.
It's our job to make sure you stay on top of what's under your hood with personalized service reminders. Personalized service reminders.
So I don't know. I'm hoping to wait until another ad pops up to see what happens. Because now I got my phone on. And let me see what's going on with these stupid ads. I'll make sure Little Miss Prepper fixes that. I apologize for that. I'm so sorry. That's out of my control. She'll fix it. She knows how to do that. She's my tech person. You know, I'm just OG. You know, I'm blunt force trauma. It's hard for me to keep up. It's hard for us old guys to keep up with this technology. So I guess if someone doesn't have another question, I'm just going to go till the next ad pops up just to see what happens, because I don't know what y'all are seeing on your end. But please ask me some questions. Again, you know, go as primitive as possible. Make you a bow now. Just got back from the ad. Oh, so question, when the ad is running, does it just cut me off? Or I would like to try growing banana. We have pretty mild winters, but we do have a few. Yeah, you could probably grow bananas. And when it's going to freeze, just cover them up. Yeah, good to see you. Best to you and Little Miss Prepper. Good to see you, Cat Girl. I'm glad you joined in. Hopefully you can go back and rewatch this. And come at me, Cat Girl, with some questions. I'm going to answer questions and waiting for another ad to run just to see how this works. I don't know if it cuts me off or if it picks up where I was at. I'm not sure. This is the first time I ever had ads running during the commercial. No worries on the ads. Hope you get a few bucks from letting the ads run. It's the channel monetization. Thank you, Salty Dog. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. I'm a big thank you guy because I appreciate when people help me. So it means a lot. It means a lot. Hopefully what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep track of people that donate and then have y'all email me so I can send you gifts. You know, just maybe handcrafted stuff, something that I can make, maybe a little book, something to send you gifts to show my appreciation. And we just set it up last night, Lemons Forever, where you can get badges or something on here. I'm not sure how that works. I don't know. But I'll figure it out. Okay, what are your top survival crops to grow? Thank you, Moonsprout, for the question. Sweet potatoes. This is why. Because you can eat the sweet potato leaves. They make a great salad. You know, you can eat them raw as a salad, or you can cook the leaves and eat them. Me and Little Miss Prepper, she loves sweet potato leaf salad. Yes, it just cuts you off like standard ads and you see when going into the channel. Oh, I apologize for that. I'm sorry. I'll do my best to get that fixed. just wish an ad come up so I can, see how the hell that works. But yeah, just keep the questions coming. Yeah, I strongly recommend. I'll tell you something else that I grow is sugar cane. That stuff is easy to grow. Sugar cane is just a grass. And down here in Florida, sugar cane grows great. And as a child, I was raised on a farm, so we would grow the sugar cane up, harvest it when it was ready, and then we had a donkey hooked to a pole, and I would walk the donkey in circles, and we would feed that sugar cane through a squeezer, and it squeezes all the juice out of that sugar cane, and we will boil it into a syrup, which is sugar. It's just basically sugar in a syrup form. And I don't use a donkey anymore. I just do it myself. I just push it around, squeeze the juice out, boil it up. And people love that cane sugar. And I use that to barter. Again, the chicken lady, she'll trade me as eggs, chicken, whatever I want for some of that for some of that sugar cane syrup. Because that lady loves her sweet tea. And she says nothing else makes that sweet tea taste good like that cane sugar. Yeah, it's valuable. Sugar cane, that's a valuable crop for me. That is my main barter. Because I don't eat sweets all that much. Okay? Now, little Miss Prepper, she loves her sweets. But me, I'm just not. I like pickled stuff and soured stuff. We are opposites attract, because she is such a good girl and I used to be such a bad boy. But luckily, she got the man version of me. She didn't have to deal with all that young crap. What are you guys' biggest concerns for the future? What is everyone prepping for? Everybody, please answer that question in the chat, because I want to know what y'all are prepping for. Me, I'm prepping for total financial collapse and hurricanes. And, I believe in Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will. But my main concern is a financial collapse and total anarchy. Economy collapse, which, yes, an EMP. An EMP is also a big concern of mine. And you can literally go online and order lead sheeting. It comes in a roll. And I've already, I got a microwave. Anytime I see someone throwing out a microwave, it's already a Faraday cage. It's just you can't have no hole. So what I do is I use that microwave as a Faraday cage. And for a backup, I wrap the microwave up with that lead sheeting. And I put and I don't have a lot of electronics, okay? Mainly walkie-talkies. I had someone, you guys, you men and women are awesome, because I had a subscriber literally send me some night vision. And again, you know, a lot of people are so humble. They just like, you know, I'm going to sing you this. Just please don't mention my name. So my night vision definitely stays in the Faraday cage. What do you think going to happen on June 1st? I really don't know. I'm really not sure. Talking to me? Okay. All right. Well, I got to get off here. I'm just waiting for one ad to run, Mom, to see how it works.
All
But
right.
I'm not exactly sure. Hopefully everything will be fine. But, you know, be prepared. You know, plan for anarchy. You know, me personally, you know, I would keep my kids home from school that day, and I would take that day off work, and I would be ready. That's my personal advice, because I honestly don't know what's going to happen. That's the wild card factor. You know, I don't know. So the best thing to do is be ready. You know, I live by this tattoo: no fear. Be prepared, not scared. So be prepared for something to go down. And also, you know, all this fertilizer that came up missing, I hate to even think what somebody's got planned with that. And me personally, I think that this current, I'm just going to say it. Okay, I hate getting into politics, but I think they're looking for an excuse for martial law. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Y'all are the real deal. Take care, everyone. Build that soil and stack it high. I'm going to read that again. That's because thank you for sharing your wisdom. Y'all are the real deal. This is the part I want to get. Take care, everyone. Build your soil and stack it high. Thank you so much for coming in the chat, you know, and being here supporting the channel. I really appreciate you all. And I guess it's not going to run another ad, or maybe I missed it, but I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. But thank you so much. So I'm going to end this. And I always like to end it like this. Stay dangerous. Stay ready. And have a blessed day. Okay.